Welcome back to the Movie Trailer Reviews podcast. Yes, we're calling it a podcast now separately because that's what we do all our movie reviews on the MTR network. I'm here with myself, Chris, and I got Phenom here. And we are here to talk, okay, the name of this film is Alien Covenant. I'm telling you right now, because I want to get this out of the way, it is Prometheus 2. All right? Do not get tricked by the trailers. Do not get tricked by the name. This is not an Alien film. This is Prometheus 2. This is the Prometheus sequel. If you've been following the production of the film, you knew this up front, but you need to know going in, and this will become more clear as we do the review. This is Prometheus 2. The
poster for this, which is nothing but a bunch of aliens crawling on each other, looks like an alien menage. That's not real.
Yeah. The crew of the colony ship bound for a remote planet discover an uncharted paradise with a threat beyond their imagination and must attempt a harrowing escape. It's directed by Ridley Scott, starring Michael Fassbender and a bunch of people you don't give a shit about. And some people that literally die at the beginning of this film. Another thing I need to point out, too, about this film is, and this is a first for me, if you're going to go watch this film and you're actually interested in seeing this, even if you're, again, if you're not a fan of Prometheus, I'm not sure you're going to like this film. If you are a fan of Prometheus, your mileage may vary. Your mileage may vary on that. But either way, if you decide to go to see this film, go find the trailer, the long trailer they have, where it's like a 5-minute trailer, I think. It's not really a trailer. It's the crew of of this colony ship, and they're all gathered around. They're talking and they're having the toast. Go watch that trailer. Go watch that trailer in that video, because it's not in the film, and that becomes important because when this film starts, they assume you've already seen that. And that's important because that sets up the different character relations and some backstory that you need. Because when this film starts, when you start this film with that crew has already been in stasis, and they get woken up when the ship gets hit by some neutron pulse. And there are characters that you saw in that trailer, an important one actually, who dies. And I couldn't help but go, wait, did they really just cast this person only to kill him without him speaking a word in the actual film?
Like, yeah, they screamed the fuck out of him, bro.
It is, but you need that because because they kill so many people at a fast pace at the beginning of this film before they actually have done any of the legwork of setting up why they're important. Like, you understand who you eventually do understand, like, okay, these are couples, these are people that are married, or girlfriend and boyfriend, or boyfriend and boyfriend, or girlfriend and girlfriend. Like, you kind of get that. But because if you haven't seen that trailer, you might be a little confused when people start dying or they start acting in a certain way. And it is a very it's a very puzzling choice to do in a film where
the biggest actor in this movie, Q-Tip, has more lines of poetic justice than this motherfucker.
Look, I'm just gonna go and say it, because I think because it's not really a spoiler, because it literally happens in the first 5 minutes of this film. James Franco, like, they cast James Franco. You see him in the, like, I believe he's in the, he's in that little trailer they have, because he's the captain of the ship. He dies in stasis at the beginning of the film. And
you don't find out it's James Franco till you see a picture of James Franco.
No. I disagree. You know he's James Franco because you see his face in the stasis when they're trying to get him out. And
you see it. Like, when he was in the stasis and he was waking up, James Franco wake up face doesn't look like regular James Franco, so I didn't recognize him.
Okay.
I didn't realize that was James Franco that died until she was watching a tablet, which, don't ask me why the fuck they got tablets in 2104. That was a question that I had too. The tablet should be in your mind. But she was watching an old video on an SD card on her tablet of this motherfucker mountain climbing. And I was like, wait, is that James Franco? Wait, is that who died? Oh.
And
well then.
And again, I know it's going to seem like that's a spoiler, but when I say this literally happens at the beginning of the film, and So
He doesn't.
and he doesn't come back. Like, you need to know this, and so you need to go and watch that like, I'm gonna go when I put this review out. I'm gonna go find that trailer and I'm gonna put it in the show notes because it's almost necessary viewing to understand the rest of these things. Because again, there's a lot of problems with this stuff, with this film but I think part of it would have been solved is I literally spent the first part of this movie going, wait, did they just kill like a character, an important character, without setting him up? Like, are we going to at any point have like there's plenty of times when a trailer cuts things out, has scenes that are not in the movie, and I get that, but I've never seen a time when they cut out an important character development scene for all of the characters. Like, literally, it's not just James Franco; it's all of them. Like, there's tension between the guy who becomes who takes over and becomes captain. I think Billy Crudup, who plays Orem, and Catherine Watterson, who's Daniels, who was the wife of James Franco's character. There's tension between them, but I think that's kind of set up in that trailer. And it's actually not just tension between them. There's tension between Orem and the rest of the crew. Like, the rest of the crew doesn't really trust him and doesn't really fuck with him. But you only get that if you watch the trailer where they kind of explain that. Like, it's a very puzzling thing that I don't know why they did that. And so I'm trying to help people prepare them so that they don't walk into this film as unprepared as I was. So you need to know that it's like, if you don't know already, it's way more of a Prometheus sequel than anything to do with aliens. And you get that from the there's another, before the opening scene we were talking about, there is a short scene that involves a character from the Prometheus film that makes you understand. And that very moment I go, oh God, they're really going heavy with the Prometheus theme. And so this is going to be a Prometheus movie. So
you're going to love this then. So first off, this film is 123 minutes long. Mm-hmm. It had a lower budget. It's $111 million budget. This film is 123 minutes long. Franco dies in the first 3 minutes, and you spend the next 120 minutes going, are they going to bring Franco back? So for 2 hours, you are sitting there in your chair going, are they going to bring Franco back?
So I need people to be able to go into this and not have, because I think that if you go in not expecting an alien film, because the trailers also, so all the other trailers outside of that character development moment trailer, all the rest of the trailers make this seem like an alien film. They're cut to make it seem like Alien 1 or Alien 2. Like, they're cut like that. That's not what this film is. And so as long as you come into this film not expecting that and understanding that you need to watch that character, I think you'll enjoy this film a lot better than Phenom and I did. And
Phenom didn't watch the trailers. Phenom walked into this film thinking it was going to be an alien film, but having it kind of hoping it might have a bit of Prometheus in it, realizing it was a Prometheus film and going, okay, that's fine by me, I'm cool. And then the film plays out, and I was like, nope, this movie is fucking stupid.
Well, so I think that goes to the real problem that is not only in this film, but honestly is in the first Prometheus too.
I got to hear what this problem is.
That the people are just fucking stupid.
Nope. Nope.
Like,
there's one stupid person in Prometheus. Just one. Everybody else, even Charlize Theron in Prometheus, when they brought Oboe back to the ship, she was like, fuck that shit. If he tries to get on this, I'm going to set him on fire. And she sets his punk ass right on fire. And when they start crying and shit, she's like, get the fuck up off your knees. You see that motherfucker face? He wasn't coming back on my ship.
You know what?
And her name is Mother. Now, she's smart. Naomi Rapaz finds out that she has an alien in her in Prometheus and is like, man, fuck this. I'm getting this shit out of my body. And she jumps in the machine. She gets that shit out of her body. She gets the fuck up out of there. David, he plays out his whole fucking plan perfectly. He knows what he wants to do. He hates fucking Guy Pearce's character. He wants to destroy humanity. He's all about these fucking Prometheans coming back and doing whatever they need to do. And he really thinks that they're going to side with him. Like, honestly, the casting for Prometheus is much better than
Oh no, I'll
this
give you
is.
that. I'll give you that one. I'll give you.
No
Yeah.
Idris Elba, Charlize Theron, Guy Pearce, and Michael Fassbender. Even the side characters are either recognizable or used, as well as they can be. Prometheus is them, ogre is all religious driven and all of that shit, and it has a much better written story. Like I legit just finished watching it,
and that's my problem. I didn't get a chance to watch it again today, and so I wanted to watch it again. And hearing you talk about it, I'm now remembering it more, and I'm like, I think you're right. I'll give you Prometheus is a way better fucking film.
It is. It's way, Chris. It's undeniably better than this film, and it's to the point that this film is a low budget, is $100 million low budget ripoff of Prometheus, down to the fucking relationships of certain characters dying. Like the film opens up with a crew on a ship waking up, right? Same shit as in Prometheus. There are couples, same shit as in Prometheus. Certain couple members die, like the main woman in the film, her husband dies. Same shit as in Prometheus. Okay. They use mother a lot as a term for the ship in this one instead of having Charlize Theron as the actual mother. They have a guy who doesn't fit the rest of the crew that is the fucking pilot of the ship.
Idris Elba and Danny McBride. Yeah.
Idris Elba is Danny McBride's character in this film, in Prometheus. It is a straight ripoff of Prometheus, and without all the theological and the biblical shit and the meaning of life shit, like all of that well-written stuff is completely stripped out of this because they wanted to continue David's story with Alien Covenant, because there's way more going on in Prometheus than just his character is doing whatever the fuck he wants to do, etc., etc. The crew is actually important in Prometheus. In this film, you can look at the casting and see the crew is not fucking important.
They literally run through them like nothing.
There's no exploration, there's no understanding, and this film at a certain point becomes a fucking slapstick comedy with the way people die. Like the first couple of people that die in this film die in the dumbest fucking ways that it really just made me go, in 2104, we're not smarter than this, and we trying to recolonize on another fucking planet that's going to take us 7 years to reach. You know what? We deserve extinction. If these are going to be our leaders, if this is our ship team, with the way these stupid motherfuckers is dying, literally at one point they tell a dude is told to put his face over some shit and he does it.
Like, no. So look, when you have films like this, obviously there's going to be a level of stupid, or the film doesn't happen. Like, when you have a horror film, you always say, "Oh man, if they just don't open that door, why would you do that? Stupid." It's like, yeah, well, if they don't open the door, there's no fucking movie. So there's always a level of dumbness in these kind of films, but the level of dumbness in this film is to the point, like Phenom says, where it's so comically bad. So something's up with this character. You shouldn't trust him, and he's done something here. You're gonna follow him away from everybody else. They keep splitting up.
Nigga, why do they keep doing it?
They keep splitting up. Like, hey, I'm gonna go over here by myself and do this. Well, that's pretty stupid, because every time you do that, somebody fucking dies.
And they're not even splitting up in groups of one, of like groups of 2 or 3, like in Prometheus. At least in Prometheus, when they split up, it's like, you two go over there, you two go here, we're exploring. In this film, one person, at one point, after there have been so many deaths and they realize what they're up against, a person goes, I need some me time, guys.
No, literally, that's what happens.
I remember looking at Chris like, what the fuck? Is this the future of humanity? There's we talk like the people. There's so many stupid people in this movie. The person in Prometheus that would have been perfect to be on this dumbass crew of dummies was the first guy in Prometheus who actually got attacked by one of the little, like, the baby alien shit before it morphs, because his dumbass was talking about, ooh, that's a beautiful little species of animal, and wanted to pet it and shit. And that's when it ended up circling around his arm and breaking his fucking arm, and then getting up in his suit and going in his mouth. Like that, like he would have been perfect for this Covenant crew.
So get on to what this crew's whole purpose is. There's a crew of 15. of the Covenant, which is the name of the ship they're on, that is carrying like 2,000 colonists, like 600 embryos, and all this stuff because they're going to this world that they found to colonize the world. Because the one thing they've also,
Araji 6 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the name of it. The thing is.
And it was a weird spelling of origin. It was like Origae.
Right, yeah. And they go like with the idea that Earth is dying and they need to find, their whole purpose is to come out here to the great unknown and find, and they've done decades of planning. They found the plan they need to. So they're out there. What happens is they get when the ship is recharging, they get hit by this neutron beam, and they have to repair the ship. Somebody dies. They lose their captain. But I think they lose maybe 40 of the colonists that are there or something like that. But still, you have literally almost 2,000 people here, and while they're doing this, they get a strange transmission from this planet. But it's not the planet they're supposed to be going to. It's a couple weeks out versus they still have 7 more years to travel to this other planet. So they make the decision to go and try to see about colonizing this planet, where instead of going to the one that they spent all their years planning for. And this is where the dumbness starts. Because no, motherfucker, you don't do that. You have a plan. You have 2,000. There are times in this film where things happen, and I want to shake the people in charge, going, you can't do this, because it's not just your little group of people that's awake right now. You're in charge of 2,000 people. You have to stick to the fucking plan. So from that moment on, there's a bunch of dumbness. They get to this other world, this other planet.
Hold on, let me jump in right there. I would like to see a film for once where some shit happens and the trajectory of the course forks, and you have to make a decision to either continue to do the shit that you plan to do, or go do this simpler, easier shit that ends up getting everybody killed and fucked up. And I would love to see a film where they actually stay the course and they do what they're supposed to do, and then they get to the planet and they find out the whole planet is fucked up and they get killed and they died. Then I'd be like, hey, at least y'all stayed the course, man.
Well, I mean,
just didn't.
Here's the thing. You know what they could have done that would have made sense? If they were like, and they had it out. And again, the script and the film get so lazy with this. They could have been like, we can't make that trip. Force a reason why you can't go. Because their whole thing was, well, because we had somebody die in stasis, the rest
we don't want to go back.
We don't want to go back in. So because you don't want to go back in, your little feelings are worried about this happening. And which is like, I'm sorry. I mean, that's not shit happens. You're going to risk 2,000 people that doesn't make any fucking sense. But if they had made it so that they had to go to this planet because the ship was beyond damage, and it was like, there's no way we can stay on course. There's no way we can make that 7-year trip. We have to go to something new. Then that would have solved this problem. But no, the film doesn't do that. It makes it so that it's a choice, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna go check it out. And so they go to check this planet out, and there's some things that I noticed right away is, so you're going to a planet you have never really checked out. You have your scans, but you don't know anything really about it. So they get down to this planet. There's no hazmat suits. There's no space suits to make sure that they're not, yeah, sure. It's got breathable air, but how do you know there's no pathogens there? Like, you're literally a crew that's in charge of the fate of humanity. You've done no surveys of this fucking planet here. So there's a bunch of times in this film where they're out here with no suits. They're touching things. Their faces all in the, and what happens is 2 of the crew members get infected. Because, duh, you didn't take any of the basic precautions that you see in every other fucking film before it. And
it's a cheap version of Prometheus, because in Prometheus, when they land, they go into what they think is a terraform created by the aliens, and the guy takes his mask off and he's like, "Oh, I can breathe." And at least in that film, he actually gets poisoned by David. He doesn't.
Right.
The fucking plant and die. But in that one, he was like, oh, it's a terraform. Coming to find out later on, it's not a fucking terraform. It's a fucking ship. That's why you could breathe in it. In this one, they land on the planet and they're like, hey man, fuck it, I'm taking my mask off because I'm willing to risk it all. And he takes it off and he's like, I can breathe. And they're like, oh my God, oxygen. We can breathe. But there's no reason that they should have known that at all. Like, given it is 2104, we should have technology that can let us know if we can breathe on the planet or not and can actually scan the air. But they didn't do any of that.
But they don't show. But it's not even about. It's not even about breathing the air. It's like you don't know what the pathogens are. You don't know if. Yeah, sure, you can breathe the air, but is there some kind of airborne contagion? And like you don't know any of that shit. And you're trying to figure out, like, if you're trying to figure out if this planet is something you can literally colonize, but they figure out, well, we can colonize because look, it's got a lake and that'll be a great view over there. It's like, yeah, but is it toxic? Is there something in the like? There's no basics of what you would do for this kind of exploration. And the thing that makes you so mad is previous alien films have shown that. Like you can't, like even the Prometheus films, they had on their suits. It's like this film, along with Prometheus, it combines both Prometheus and alien lore, but only on the surface. They break everything they've done in previous fucking films.
Yeah, it just what I didn't realize is, and I very much recommend that you watch Prometheus.
You have to.
If you
have to
really want to see this film. You need to watch Prometheus again if you don't remember it before going to see this film, because David is a huge part. Like I'm only now realizing that things that I just really didn't pay attention to in Alien Covenant all are callbacks to understanding Michael Fassbender's characters. And like when they arrived to this, like, okay, there's got to be a point where we get to spoilers, because I have questions that I want to ask you directly that I did not pick up on.
Let's get into that later. We'll do that towards the end of this. We'll go into some spoilers. The other problem I have with this film, again, and this goes back to my bigger problem of why Ridley Scott should not be allowed to direct any of these films ever again. It's very clear to me that Ridley Scott is still pissed at what James Cameron did with expanding on the xenomorph mythology and aliens, because Ridley Scott is doing everything in his power to erase that. And what I mean by that is when you watch this,
Aliens is just a better film.
Alien?
Aliens.
Yeah.
Aliens is just a better fucking film than the rest of these.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's a different type of film. The first Alien film to me is a survival horror film, and I get it. You don't really have the alien there. The second film really digs into and makes the aliens themselves characters. Like they're almost completely separate films. But what Cameron did and what they did in Aliens is they go into what this perfect killing machine is. They introduce things like the queen. They introduce like the eggs. Like they introduce all these different things here, and they expanded it. You know, and again, the films that came after it, particularly Resurrection and that Alien versus Predator Requiem film, they didn't really do a lot with it, but they expanded it. What they do with this Alien Covenant film, I feel like they go and they try to erase everything that was done there. Like there are certain things that they do here that just don't make any fucking sense and erase what we've all come to know and expect about what we know about xenomorphs. Like it's just
really Scott has this obsession with creationism.
Yes.
And that is what motivates him through these films. It's why he won't do a straight up Alien sequel. It's why he keeps doing these Prometheus films, because he doesn't want to do an Aliens film.
Right.
He wants to do a study of man film.
Right.
A study of creation and a study of life.
And after people got mad about not having aliens in the last one, he decided, fine, fuck it, I'll throw them into this one, which is literally what they do.
But look how he handles aliens in both of these films. In Prometheus, the alien is so humanish,
Mm-hmm.
right? Its personification is just so human in that film. In this film, you kind of get the same
Yes.
feeling, and then you get an alien, like a legit, like when we think alien as far as these films, you get one of those aliens.
But
But
even
at first,
then,
get
even
these
then,
Prometheus aliens again, and it's kind of like, I don't know, man, to the point where they really go far with the whole creating new life and playing God shit
yeah,
in this film,
yeah.
which they were doing which is where they were going with Prometheus in the first place. Prometheus is just all about people playing God. Everybody wants to play God in Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
In this film, one person wants to play God.
Yeah, it's again, it feels like you said. It feels like it's a poor redo of what they did in Prometheus, even though it's clearly a sequel and takes what happens in Prometheus and adds on to it. But it's just, I don't know, man. It just, like, I think a lot of people, I think it'll be middle of the road, and a lot of people will come back, oh, I enjoyed it and liked it. But I'll be perfectly honest, as a person who really loved the xenomorph lore and what they've done here, I am not a fan of. I was okay with Prometheus. I'm not okay with this film because of and it's beyond just them making the film. It's
not watch it ever again.
Yeah, it just what they like. You were talking about how like the personification of these aliens, but even when you finally get the alien that looks like the alien we know, even in that case, he does things with and makes like there's one point it walks upright, and I'm like, but that's what these they never really do that. It's literally walking like a human. Like I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense what they do here.
I remember looking at it walk like that and thinking, did they get old boy from Planet of the Apes films
right
to do these? And then I was thinking, that's a slap in the face to him, because you would never know it was him doing it if he did it.
Yeah, it just like you said, like you can't get beyond the people being stupid in this film, and I honestly think that all right, beyond just my hangups with what he does with alien lore, if you had more character development for some of these characters, who just die over the place, and you have no connection to them. There's clearly connection to them being made by the other characters on screen, but you as an audience member have no real connection to them whatsoever because you were never really introduced to them, and they never really get a moment. Like there's several times where some of these characters, the ones that were carrying weapons, die, and I'm like, well, like were you guys weapons trained? Like why are you like it just shit just does not make sense. Like people go off by themselves on this strange alien world, again making no fucking sense whatsoever, and doesn't seem to make like there's just a lot of stuff here that doesn't make sense. Even if I take out the issues with the alien lore, I just can't get beyond how dumb the people are. Like
it felt like a Critters film too, man. Like it just didn't.
Oh, a Critters? You're absolutely yeah.
Critters film, yeah. It felt like a Critters film. It didn't feel like.
I'm mad you brought up Critters. Like that, I used to love to watch those.
No, as a kid I did, but I don't want to watch Alien Critters.
Yeah, no.
Like it felt like a blend of Critters and the dolls from Tales from the Hood. Like I didn't want to see that when I went to see this film, but also not just or the fucking Gingerbread Man from that damn Crossbits film. Oh my god! Like it was bad in certain scenes, but did it feel like a horror sci-fi film to you?
No,
because it didn't have a lot of these. Like I was talking to a coworker today, and they were like, "Yeah, man, when we saw the trailer, like my son had to cover his eyes and away from the screen. It looks really horrific, and I like it like horror. It looks like a good horror film, but it's not. It's a sci-fi film with some light horror elements, but there's not a lot of aliens sneaking up on people, popping up on you, slashing motherfuckers apart. They have two really cheap kill scenes with this that involve this alien, and that's it. The rest of it is just life and creation.
I'm not gonna lie. I had to look up to see if it was R-rated Because for a minute there, I was like, why would? And then I was like, there's a lot of blood at some points, so I was like, okay, yeah, it makes sense that it's R rated. But at the same time, I'm like, that's really it, because it just like I said, I think the scene that did it for me is there's a scene again once they land on the planet. There's a death scene with a bunch of and they kind of show you some of it in the trailer, but the way that goes down is so comically bad, and they shoot it in a way, and again, Ridley Scott just needs to be stopped. They shoot it in a way that's supposed to make it seem like the character is so frightened and is so panicked that they just can't do anything right. But it turns into a Three Stooges film where they're slipping on blood on the floor. They can't aim their gun. Like, it's literally, it turns into a comedy, but it's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be like a horrific, oh my God, she's so, like, she's so scared that she can't get her wits about her. But instead, I'm just like, you're being stupid.
It's legit like in the other Alien films, in the Prometheus films, they have these little critters that you see them and they don't have arms and legs and mouths. They're just like, they might have a mouth, but they're so weird looking as alien creatures that you're not exactly sure how they attack. Like in Prometheus, the creatures attack like really, really volatile snakes. And it is scary as fuck to watch. Cause you're like, God damn, all it is a thick ass piece of string, but that motherfucker is deadly as shit. In this, and it's like there's like you can't run from it. It will get you. In this film, they really had to treat it like critters or child's play or being attacked by a doll, where the person falls on the ground and stays on the ground to fight this thing that's no bigger than their fucking shoe. And it's like, if you just get the fuck up and run, you might live. But instead, you're just gonna slip and fall and stay on the ground because, nigga, for why? It's just not a good horror film. It's a terrible Aliens film, and it's not a good sequel for Prometheus.
Yeah, because, and the thing is, because they try to combine the two instead of sticking to what it's so clear that he didn't want to do this. Because I remember correctly, the way they did this, they weren't going to call this Alien Covenant at first. It was literally going to be Prometheus 2. I feel like they threw in the connections to Alien, the obvious connections to aliens, and the way the alien looks, and that gives us the xenomorph that we were expecting. I feel like they threw that into the last minute. I don't feel like the original script for this ever called for that at all, because at some point it feels shoehorned in. And I don't think that fixes some of the problems you were talking about there. But, and I'm not saying it fixes it for me either, but when that stuff happens, it just feels like it's, by the time we get to that point on the film, when we're going to start getting the xenomorph that we know and love, I literally was at the point like, oh, get the fuck out of here. Like, it was almost insulting how they did it that way. And it was just so beyond unnecessary.
You realize, like, the original, so I'm reading about this right now, and this was supposed to be a direct sequel with Naomi Rapace actually, finding what she was looking for, and Michael Fassbender with her, and it was supposed to help bridge the gap between this and when we finally get to Alien, right? Mm-hmm. But the studio, of course, one, they didn't want Scott back. They wanted quote unquote a new voice, which means they didn't want to do a Prometheus sequel. They wanted to do an Alien film.
So before you finish this up, Alien 5 was going to happen with the guy who did District 9. I think it's Neil Blomkamp. I can't say his last name, but they're supposed to do that. A few months ago, they came out and said it was scrapped because apparently Ridley Scott just still has pull at Fox, and they went the Ridley Scott route. So you're absolutely right. They were trying to go the Alien 5 route. I think they were supposed to be trying to bring back. They were going to ignore 3 and bring back Hicks and and Ripley and the little girl. They're gonna bring them back because and go straight to a sequel to Aliens. Well, they scrapped all that and they gave us this, and so they decided to basically shove them both to kind of together, and you can tell because here's the thing.
Also, it looks like there was supposed to be 3 of these films, and Fox did not want to get behind him for the 3rd one, which explains the rush, like the cheap rush in this 2nd film, because the whole thing he wanted to reveal with these 3 prequels was who created the xenomorph aliens.
Right.
Oh my God, this makes so much sense now why this movie is a piece of shit.
Yeah, no, I mean again, you can tell. Like I think there will be people out here who like it, who enjoy it for what it is. But when you look at it from the point of view of what they're trying to do with the story, it is so clear they mashed a bunch of stuff together, and took a bunch of important story elements out, because when you go from Prometheus and you're gonna try to connect this to Alien, you do need a 3rd film. Like you need, like this film should, like what they do with Michael, like again, because he's probably the best actor on in this film. Michael Fassbender is obviously the standout on the cast, and what they give him to do here is important. Fuck it, I think enough people know about this. Minor spoiler: his character, he plays 2 parts in this film. Walter, which is the current android that's with the Alien Covenant crew, but then also his character from Prometheus shows up, David. So you have him playing against himself, and it's Michael Fassbender. He acts his ass off. His scenes are great. Yeah. He brings in the elements that Ridley Scott. The stuff that works with this film is the David and Walter stuff, because it goes back to what Ridley Scott cares about, which is this whole idea of creation, gods, who your creator is, creation, like all of that. That's what Ridley Scott really wants to go to. So that stuff here in this film is shot really well and is done really well, because that's the stuff that Ridley Scott cares about.
I think it kind of works. I think that they rushed the film so much and tried to jam 2 films into this one film because really knew he wasn't getting the 3rd one, that they ultimately sacrificed what David and Walter's whole purpose, their whole interaction purpose was in this film.
Valid.
Was to kind of either get David to understand what it's like to deal with people having their own choice, and also to have Walter kind of use this whole logistics sense that David lacks to explain to him, hey, bruh, you might just be broken.
Yeah.
And they rush it so much that these 2 characters they don't really bond. They have a scene that's supposed to be a bonding scene for them, but seriously, like that's it. And then they have the deep, maybe it's not them, maybe it's you conversation, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot here. There's a scene in here where I wasn't sure if it was David, and I know this sounds weird as an android, imagining it or if he really did it, and then I later found out that it literally is him. He actually did it. And we'll get into some spoilers. And again, that makes sense, but it's just like you said, I think the biggest problem with this film is it's supposed to be 3 films, and they had to mash it all together in the 2, and then also add in the more heavy-handed alien stuff. And it just right. So it's really 3 films mashed into one, and it just doesn't work. That also explains why they cut out the important character development scene with the crew before they went into stasis.
I mean, real talk, they spent an hour of this film, because I had my watch, I was timing it. They spent an hour of this film with the crew on his ship and landing on the ground. That's the first whole hour.
But they don't. But it was no character development, though. That's the crazy thing. Right. They're there, but you never really bond with any of the crew. You never get.
No,
it's just
boring
weird.
shit happening on this ship and mourning.
Right.
That's and then they land on Earth and it's cheap excavation, stupid excavation, and then the last 30 minutes is what the hell is going on?
Again, where it doesn't make any sense because I'm like, okay, yeah, you have people, you literally have, you're trying to save two people on the Earth. You have 2,000 on the ship. Tough choices here, guys. Not really though.
I mean, in reality though, if you think about it, and this would have made more sense. And we might as well just jump into spoilers mode at this point.
Well,
Can we throw a rating out?
Let's give the rating. What would you give this film?
It's another 5.5. It's a 6 out of 10.
That's what I was gonna go with. I was gonna go with the 6.
I really don't even want to give it a 6 because it's kind of positive, but I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Whatever. Yeah. So okay. All right. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, turn off now or come back later. But yeah, we're giving it a 6 out of 10. If you want to hear spoilers, keep going with it. So go ahead.
All right. So here's what they should have did, and this would have made more sense. If they have to go into a sleep, right, cryo sleep, and somebody has to run the ship for 7 years, they have to go back and get Walter. They have to, because who else is gonna fucking run the ship?
Wait, what are you talking about?
They like the whole going to the planet to rescue these motherfuckers. It shouldn't have even been about rescuing the other crew members. It should have been about getting Walter back on the ship.
That's valid. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Because they cannot go to this new planet, Orgate 6, if they don't have Walter. So, or somebody's gonna have to risk 7 years of their life, who is not capable to do what Walter can do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's the first part. And they probably don't even have food on the ship to sustain that person. Because remember, Walter is an upgrade from David, and David actually requires like nourishment and shit.
Right.
I mean, the opening to Prometheus is David, while they're all asleep, riding around on a bicycle in the gym shooting hoops.
Right.
He's way more human than Noid.
And they make that point. They make a point of David being and again. So here's an interesting tie to the Alien universe. I can't remember what the name of the android is in the first Alien movie, but even him, when he drops the facade and comes out that he's an android, he becomes way more cold and straightforward and has less emotions. And even before then, so you see how they started making their androids have less and less emotions as they go through the movies. So I like that. I understand the fact that, hey, the first one they go with, which is David, they made too human. He has these emotions. He has these feelings. He can create. And that's a big difference between. Obviously the Walter has some other upgrades as well, but the difference between Walter and David is David can do things like create music. He can take a flute and create a piece of music. Walter can't do that. He can only imitate and go after what other people have done. So one of the bonding scene they have is David trying to teach Walter how to create new music and do things on his own, and they had this philosophical talk about this kind of stuff. Like that makes sense. I understand that, and it's great. And like you said, yeah, if they made it so that, hey, we don't need these humans here, we need to rescue Walter so Walter can come up here and keep the rest of the stuff going, that would make all the sense in the world.
And the other guy you're talking about is Bishop from the original Aliens.
No. Bishop is in Aliens.
Second one?
Yeah, the very, very first one. I'll look it up in a second and find out what it is.
So this is what I want to. So at the end of Prometheus, Noomi Rapace is the lone survivor because Charlize Theron didn't know how to zig or zag and ran a straight line and died. She got crushed by the ship. Stupidest shit ever. Noomi Rapace and her and David, Broken David, because she gets his body in his head and puts him in a like a go-kart, an alien go-kart ship or whatever. David tells her that there are other ships on this planet, right, where they were preparing this pathogen that they were going to take to Earth. The aliens were 2,000 years ago to destroy humanity, but because they destroyed themselves, the ships never left. So she goes and she finds we're to assume that she finds another ship, not the ship that Idris Elba destroyed when he was trying to keep the Promethean from leaving. So they find this ship, and the last scene is like her in space talking to David and them flying away, and her saying, I want to go to the creator's planet. I don't want to go back home to Earth. I want to go see them.
Right.
So I did not realize, see, I thought in Alien Covenant, this planet was the planet that they were on, but in reality, this is the home planet of the Prometheans.
Yeah.
That they go to. And all the spore shit that is on this earth is David, is what he's been doing.
Right.
For like however many years. So he planted these spores in preparation for being rescued?
No. So that's where I'll go back to saying that there's a scene in here. Remember when he goes and he shows Walter the grave where he put the supposed grave where he put Elizabeth? At that scene when he's quoting, he's having that quote, they show what he actually did. At some point, because she's, again, I don't know why she would, they don't explain why, but again, this is why I think they most of these films together. Naomi's character, Elizabeth, she puts David back together, and apparently what he does is when they show up at the plant, the creator's home planet, he releases the spore. So when they show up at where he's at in that city, he released all the spores there and killed all the people that were there.
Oh, that was real. So that wasn't a dream. Is that what you said?
Exactly. And I didn't realize that until basically the end of the film. I was like, so that was real, because they don't do a good enough job of saying really whether it was David imagining it or saying he wanted to do that, or if he actually did it. So what I realized once you realize that he's been doing the experiments, it's like, okay, that's what he did. He seeded this world. He went out and he released that pathogen. He killed all of the aliens, the Prometheans, of whatever their names were there, by releasing that spore and then experimenting on whatever came out of it. Again, that still doesn't make a lot of fucking sense, because it's like he's done so many other experiments, so it's like whatever. But
he did it, but how did he know he had enough for the whole planet? And
exactly,
they just showed him like in these films. What bothers me the most is the fact that they make it seem like planets, the surface area of planets, is not as big as planets.
Yeah,
it just doesn't fit. So are we saying that he killed Noomi Rapace on the ride there? Like because they say he sacrificed her. He tries to relate to Walter in that way by saying, "Oh, I sacrificed the person that I love," but he never actually loves Elizabeth. He tries to kill her in Prometheus instantly after killing her husband. Like the husband became his first test subject, and she became the second. Mm-hmm. So they try to make it seem like in Alien Covenant that he had this dedication to her because she saved him and put him back together. But the reality is, people keep saving David or bringing David with them, and they really need to stop, because David is going to he's a fucking habitual line stepper. He's going to keep doing this shit because that is his short circuit. His short circuit is that he feels like humanity is at its end and he wants to be a god.
Well, and that goes back to why I really wanted to rewatch, and I'm glad you did, to remind me of some of the things that happened in Prometheus. I wanted to go back and rewatch Prometheus. When did Prometheus come out? Was that
2012?
Yeah, so it was so long ago. I just don't remember some of the things that happened. But when you remind me, I was like, yeah, David didn't have a body. So why did she put... why did she put them back together? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know why she put them back together, but she had his head, and his head was fully functional, and she knew she could talk to him. He knew how to fly the alien ship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense.
But she didn't need to put them back together, and she clearly put them back together on the alien ship.
And how? Because with body part, like, again, the shit doesn't make any sense, and so there just seems to be a lot of stuff that is left unanswered as to, and I don't mean unanswered, they'll answer it in future movies. I mean unanswered in how this plot and movie works. So because we're doing spoilers here now, I can kind of go into a little bit of why my whole. You find out that David is the one that created the xenomorphs that we all know. He's been experimenting on these on the life on Earth, on this planet. Don't ask me how he got to the point of keep experimenting because, like, again, it doesn't make any sense, but somehow he's been able to do it and created the perfect killing machine. The reason why this pisses me off is, I mean, even down to the eggs that have the face huggers in them. The reason why this pisses me off is Aliens establishes the fact that the first time we see the eggs, and that film establishes that if there's eggs, something has to lay the eggs. Well, this movie erases all that and says that no, David created the eggs, and somehow, like, this is what goes. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I guess you can kind of go from there and say that, well, the eggs are, he created the eggs, but in order to keep going, they evolved until needing a queen and do it just, I don't know, it just seems stupid. It goes back to Ridley Scott's obsession with this whole creation thing, and that they need to be created, and they need to be like, there needs to be like David's the one that's it just seems like he's trying to erase that Aliens film and what was done there by making it so that these creatures are the creation of some rogue AI android, and it just, the whole thing is stupid. Like,
so at the end of this film, he's gonna infect the whole crew over the next 7 years, because now he just has all the equipment he would need, I guess, to do his studies. He's been stuck on this other planet for 10 years, we assume, or however many years it took him to get to the planet.
What I'm assuming is that, and again, it still doesn't make sense because in Alien, they find one of those Prometheus ships, those creator ships. That's where they find the eggs in. So it doesn't make sense to me, because I was going to assume that maybe he's going to take them, to the colonists, to the planet they're going to settle down there, and that's where you get all those eggs from when Sigourney Weaver and her crew pull up. And the android in that film was played by Ian Holm, and it was named Ash. That's what's going to happen. But again, that doesn't make sense because they don't find an Earth ship. They find one of those alien ships that has the eggs in them. So I don't know. I don't understand where they go from here and what they do here, or if they even are going to do it. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I guess on its own, people will find some enjoyment in it, but in terms of fitting into the larger lore, honestly, what I feel like Ridley Scott is doing here, I feel like he's doing another George Lucas. I feel like he's going back.
Why didn't they just have them go to this planet, find out that the planet is fucked, have David act like, yo, man, this planet is fucked, get me out of here, and have him hop on the ship, and the next hour of the film be him letting loose aliens on this ship, like just following the alien format. Somebody gets infected, alien bursts, gets out, gets loose on the ship, and David is working with this alien to get him through, and they don't realize it till later in the film that he's the culprit and he's the reason.
Because that would make it an alien film, and not the Prometheus higher talking about creation theme that Ridley Scott is going for. He doesn't want to do alien films anymore. Like, that's the bottom line here. He doesn't want to do alien films anymore. And 20th Century Fox needs to understand that. Either let him make the Prometheus films he wants to make, and because again, that's why I had no problem with the original plan, which was let Ridley Scott do his Prometheus films, fine, but then let somebody else come in and direct alien films. Like, that was the perfect plan to me, because that gives you the best of both worlds. That gives you people to do. That gives you, if you want to find out more about a Prometheus and the prequel to leading up to Aliens, let Ridley Scott do his thing. If you want to just watch Aliens,
years old too. And this isn't the only film that he's getting. He's getting Blade Runner this year too, like another Blade Runner. Like, are they doing that without him?
I don't think he's directing it, but I think he might be like a producer. Let me double check.
Also, he got a God complex himself, man. Like, I kind of feel like he does, because I just picked up on the fact that, like, when we were watching the film, I was thinking, hey, yo, what was Sigourney Weaver's character's name in the Aliens film? Like, that's what I was thinking. And I was like, I want to say Ridley, but that's just stupid. Why would you name
Ripley,
the female character in your film, Ridley, if your name is Ridley Scott and you directed it? And then I realized it's Ripley. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this motherfucker named the character after himself by flipping his D upside down. nigga.
Yeah. No, he's not directing or writing the Blade Runner 2049, which means that actually might possibly be a good film.
Yeah, I mean Blade. I mean the trailer looked okay that I saw, but I'm not a huge Blade Runner fan. I think it's
No,
an overrated film.
no, Blade
Tried to watch
Blade
it
Blade
multiple
Runner
times. I
is
fall.
entirely overrated. It is a terrible film about rape and slavery.
All right, I don't want to watch it at all.
No, I'm serious.
So
No, I'm dead serious. Like it, like go,
I,
like one, yeah,
I
it's
completely believe you. I'm just saying. So like those are my issues with after watching Prometheus. I started to develop more and more issues with Prometheus 2 titled Alien Covenant because it really is a sleight of hand move on the audience. The word covenant has so many definitions to it, and the actual definition that Ridley Scott was going for was like worship, cult like covenant
mm-hmm.
with David, despite naming the ship Covenant, as in just like a group traveling or whatever. Like it sucks. He really played the audience with this.
Yeah. Like I said, it's supposed to the perfect thing that come out of this would have been the best of both worlds, the best of combining Prometheus and Alien, which is what you could have hoped for. And I'm gonna be honest, they don't do that. That's not
Goddamn,
what it's.
get another Predator film then,
Hmm?
because just what's the next Predator?
We are getting another Predator. I think it's being
That's
directed.
what I'm saying. Just give us the next one. Just
Yeah.
go ahead. Let's go ahead and rush that because
Here's the thing.
I don't want to give up on Aliens, and you got the Aliens video game that's kind of good, and they could have made that. They could have just based the whole movie off that game.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, man.
The Predator franchise has been so much better. Like I think for some reason apparently some people swear that Predators wasn't good, but I thought that was actually pretty.
Predators was fine. I think the original two first Predator films are fine.
Yeah.
You know when Predator films get bad? When you add aliens to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when they get bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Then and the next one I think is being directed by Shane Black. So yeah, I'm all down. I'm actually really looking forward to the because you know the thing about you know why the Predator films are so much better.
Because they actually make them do Predator shit.
Like
well, they make
that's one, and they know what you're there for. You're not there. Like they keep like that Predators film was so good because they expanded the Predator lore, but at the same time, they basically just did what they did in the first film. Like even down to the music on that film basically goes back as a throwback to the first Predator film. You know,
just make.
And it honestly comes out as basically as a sequel to more of a sequel to the first Predator film than Predator 2 is. Like it's just what it is. And I have with Shane Black coming back to coming in to do this new Predator film, I have full faith in it that it's going to be good compared to what they're doing with the Alien franchise, which it just seems like they don't know what they want to be. And I think it's because it comes down to that stark difference between those first two films that both turned out to be good. Like Alien itself is a good film, but it's a survival horror film. Aliens is a good film, but it's a sci-fi action film. And so they like when you ask me which one's better, I can't really answer because it depends on what I want to see at that time because they're two different films. And I feel like going forward, anybody who's tried to do something with this franchise doesn't know what to do. So they try to blend the two together, and it doesn't. You either have to go with the whole sci-fi action film thing, or you need to go with the survival horror. You can't do both. And I feel like so many times they've tried to do both. Wasn't it you that said you like Alien 3, right?
I enjoy Aliens 3, yes.
So here's the thing: when we did our nostalgia review of Alien 3, when you go back and watch the director's cut of it, the special edition cut of it, it's a lot better, and it kind of goes along the idea of the survival horror of the first film. So those three films are the only ones that really matter in the Alien franchise because everything after that has just been, they don't know what the fuck they want to do with the aliens. And
I think Alien set a bar that nobody wanted to continue to try to achieve after, right?
Right.
I think Aliens 2 came in and set a bar that people went, holy shit, this is great, but I don't think we'll be able to hit this again without James Cameron. And James, did Cameron do Aliens 3? He did Aliens 3 too, right?
No, I don't think so.
Did three. Okay, so you have Aliens 3 comes in, then that helps my point. Then you have Aliens 3, okay, who is directed
David
by
Fincher. David Fincher.
David Fincher. Wow. So you have Aliens 3, which is directed by another amazing director, David Fincher. But Fincher comes in, and Fincher's like, what if it's like space prison? And it's just a horror film with these fucking space prisoners and Ripley, and they're trying to survive this alien that's on the loose trying to kill them. Okay, and we put Charles S. Dutton in it as a preacher black man. That works, right? David Fincher had a crazy vision, but he understood where the franchise needed to go. The next person who did Aliens, it should have been Aliens 4, and it should have been the same fucking concept. It should have been space, a ship in space, alien gets loose in the ship. We need to find this motherfucker. Or aliens get loose in the ship. We're fucked. We need to find a way to get off this ship. Those should be the two things that you go to as far as aliens films. Prometheus needs to be its own subset of just prequels that really don't have much to do with the alien films.
And that's what the first one kind of was. You know?
Right. And that's why I liked it. I was like, okay, this is different. This gives me more story. This gives me more lore. Cool. I can watch this and I can watch Alien separately. I don't have to watch them together. But people keep trying to do too much with these fucking Alien films, and it really is a basic concept. If you can get 6 Resident Evil films, it makes absolutely no sense that there aren't 10 Alien films. We're going to continue to get Fast and Furious films that are the same fucking thing. Dudes doing action and surviving shit you should have died from. Aliens should be the same thing. Aliens in space with people trapped on a spaceship and they can't get off of them. Boom. That's it. Like I don't know why they keep trying to overdo
rinse,
the
and
aliens.
repeat. Rinse, wash, and repeat. I mean, it's really fucking simple, and I don't get it.
There's no alien horrors. There is no film right now that is an alien horror sci-fi film that's killing it right now. There isn't one. So the lane is wide the fuck open.
What kills me is when you're going back to do these franchises like this. Like again, I have a feeling that the new Predator film is going to stick to the basics of the first film, just like the Predators film did, because that's what works. Like the way you revive franchises like this is you go back to what works. You literally take what they did that worked in the late 70s, early 80s, and you literally redo that again on screen, and you bring in the old fans, and some people will bitch about how it's not original, but overall you'll bring in the old fans and you'll bring in new fans who were too young to get the original. This is what happened with motherfucking Star Wars. That's what I mean. And then after that, then you can go on into building your own thing here. That's just not what they're doing with this. And again, what they do with Alien Covenant just does not. Like, it should not be called Alien anything. It really shouldn't be, but it's so clear that the studio just jumped in.
It's Covenant or Covenant.
Something like that. That's what they should have called it. And it's clear to me that, and even from the trailers and the marketing they've done on this, they are really heavy on showing the alien and making you feel like it's an alien film. And that's how they're going to get people into theaters. And that's just, it's bullshit. Complete
Which
fucking bullshit.
If that's what if you realize the alien is what gets people into theaters, let really do what he's doing, like you said, and hire somebody else to make
an actual alien fucking film, right? Go figure. So, all right, folks, that's it. Again, if you want to hit us up, mtrailer reviews at mtrnetwork.net. The website is now mtrnetwork.net. The old movie trailer reviews links still work, but start putting in mtrnetwork.net. For this and all of our other movie reviews, type in movie trailer reviews into iTunes, Stitcher. I think we're also on Google Play now as well. Put that in there, and you'll get the exclusive feed just for our movie reviews, because they're basically calling this movie trailer reviews. Is a podcast for all of our movie reviews. Check it out there. Leave us 5-star reviews on there, and get those feeds going. Yeah, folks. Until next time. Again. Your mileage may vary. This is one of those films, unlike the King Arthur film. I think people, if you're interested in seeing it, go see it. Make up your own mind. Obviously, we had thoughts could be damn near talking about this for a damn near an hour, but make up your own mind on the film and go see it and see what you think about it. But yeah, so there you guys have it. Till next time, we are out of here. Peace.